My dad laughed. Maybe **ing will make you interesting. So I cancelled the credit cards, shut off their power, and let foreclosure do the rest. The beeping of the heart monitor was the only thing keeping me anchored to reality. It was a rhythmic, soul-crushing sound. Pulse, 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 echoing against the sterile white walls of the intensive care unit. Each breath felt like I was inhaling crushed glass. Sepsis is a funny thing. It doesn't just attack your organs. It attacks your will to live. It seeps into your blood until your very identity feels poisoned. But as I lay there, tethered to 4 drips and oxygen tubes, the physical pain was nothing compared to the cold, dead weight in my chest caused by the glow of my smartphone screen. I looked at the photo my father had just posted on Instagram. He was standing on a lush green golf course in Las Vegas, a beer in one hand, a driver in the other, grinning like he'd just won the lottery. The caption read, "Living my best life. Some people are just born lucky." I had sent him a text 30 minutes prior. I told him I was in the ICU. I told him the doctors weren't sure if I'd make it through the night. I told him I was scared. His reply came 2 minutes later. 7 words that shattered the last remains of my heart. "Maybe dying will make you interesting, Harper. No, I'm coming. No, stay strong." Just a cruel, biting joke from the man whose mortgage I had been paying for 5 years. For as long as I could remember, I wasn't a daughter to the Vance family. I was a resource. I was the golden goose. When I landed my lead role at a top-tier cybersecurity firm at 24, my parents didn't throw a dinner to celebrate my achievement. They threw a party to celebrate their new lifestyle. Family helps family, Harper. My mother, Elena, would purr whenever she needed a new designer handbag or a kitchen remodel that cost more than my annual car payment. "You're the successful one, sis," my older brother Derek would say with a smirk before asking for $5,000 to fund another business venture that inevitably involved him sitting at a blackjack table. I gave because I wanted to be loved. I gave because I thought if I built them a beautiful enough life, they would finally look at me and see me, not just my bank balance. But as the sepsis raged through my veins and my oxygen levels plummeted, the truth became as clear as the antiseptic smell of the ward. They didn't love me. They loved my wire transfers. "Nurse," I croaked, my voice sounding like sandpaper. "Don't try to talk, Harper," the nurse said gently, checking my vitals. "Your fever is spiking again. You need to rest." "My phone," I whispered. "I need to make a call." I didn't call my father back. I didn't call my mother. Called my lawyer, Patrick. "Harper, it's 4 a.m. Is everything okay?" Patrick's voice was thick with sleep. "Patrick," I said, a strange, cold fire beginning to burn through the haze of my fever. "I'm in the ICU. Might die. But if I don't, I want you to prepare some papers. I want to burn the bridge. All of them. Are you sure? You've been their safety net for years." I looked at my father's golf photo one last time. I looked at the "maybe dying will make you interesting" text. "The safety net is gone, Patrick," I whispered. "I'm letting them fall. Survival is the best form of spite." Against all odds, the antibiotics took hold. My lungs cleared, my fever broke, and the fog in my brain lifted to reveal a razor-sharp clarity. While I was recovering, the messages from my family didn't change. There were no inquiries about my white blood cell count or my breathing. Instead, the emergencies continued. "Harper, your brother is in a bit of a bind at the Wynn. Can you send $2,000? Don't be dramatic about the hospital thing, we know you're fine," my mother texted. "The lawn guy is asking for his monthly payment. Just put it on the usual card," my father sent, as if he hadn't told me to die just 48 hours prior. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my laptop from my hospital bed. My fingers, still shaky from the IVs, danced across the keyboard with lethal precision. As a cybersecurity expert, I knew exactly how to dismantle a digital life. First, the emergency card. I'd given my parents a credit card with a $50,000 limit for emergencies only. Over the last year, those emergencies included a trip to Napa Valley and a set of custom golf clubs. I clicked, report stolen. Next, the utilities. The house they lived in, the house I had bought in my name to save them from their own bad credit, was a smart home. I logged into the portal. Electricity. Scheduled for disconnection. Water. Scheduled for disconnection. High-speed fiber internet. Cancelled. Then the mortgage. Called the bank. I'd like to stop the automatic payments for the property on Willow Creek, I told the agent. And yes, I am aware of the foreclosure timeline. Let it happen. Finally, Derek's truck. I had co-signed the lease and was paying the insurance. I called the agency and revoked the policy effective immediately. I was sitting in my hospital bed, eating a lukewarm cup of lime jello, when the first bomb went off. My phone erupted. It was my father. I let it ring. Then my mother. I let it ring. Then Derek. I finally picked up on Derek's 10th call. "What the hell, Harper?" he screamed. "I'm at a gas station in the middle of the desert and the card was declined. I can't even pay for a Snickers bar. Mom is crying because the hotel kicked them out of their suite." "That sounds like a personal problem, Derek," I said calmly. "A personal problem? We're family. You have millions. Why would you report the card stolen?" "Because," I said, leaning back against the pillows, "only a thief would use a dying woman's money to play golf while she's in the ICU. Since you're all in Vegas, I assumed someone had stolen your identities and was impersonating my loving family. After all, my real family would be here, right?" Silence. The kind of silence that happens when a predator realizes the prey has grown teeth. "Harper, honey." My mother's voice came onto the line, sounding practiced and sweet. "We were coming. We just wanted to win a little extra to buy you a get-well gift. Don't be petty. Turn the cards back on. We're stranded. You have legs, Mom. And you have a car. Or you did until I canceled the insurance. I suggest you start driving before the repo man finds it." "You wouldn't," my father's voice growled in the background. "That's our house, Harper. Our lives." "No," I corrected him. "That was my money. And since I'm so uninteresting, I've decided to spend it on something that actually matters. Me." I hung up and blocked their numbers. For the first time in 10 years, the room was silent. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I could finally breathe. I was discharged from the hospital 5 days later. I was thinner, paler, but I felt like a weapon. I moved into a high-security condo that my family didn't know about. I changed my number. I alerted my office security that under no circumstances were my parents or brother allowed on the premises. But a parasite doesn't let go of its host without a fight. Since they couldn't reach me, they went public. Derek, being the coward he is, started a Justice for the Vance Parents GoFundMe page. He posted photos of our childhood, carefully curated to look happy, and wrote a harrowing story about how their cold-hearted tech mogul daughter had kicked them to the curb while they were grieving a family crisis. My mother took to Facebook, tagging all my professional colleagues. "It breaks my heart that success changes people. Harper has left us with no water, no power, and a foreclosure notice. Please pray for our family." My inbox flooded with messages. Some were from concerned friends, but many were from professional contacts asking what was going on. In the tech world, reputation is everything. They were trying to destroy my career to force me back into submission. I sat at my desk, my golden retriever, Cooper, resting his head on my knee. I watched a video Derek posted on TikTok, where he sat in the dark living room of the Willow Creek house, lit only by a candle, claiming I was mentally unstable and vengeful. "Okay," I whispered. "You want to play digital war? Let's play." I didn't post a rant. I didn't beg for sympathy. I simply uploaded a file. I created a public Google Drive link and titled it, "The Cost of Interest." Inside, I organized everything. Folder 1, the receipts. 5 years of bank statements showing exactly where my money went. $40,000 for Mom's plastic surgery. $12,000 for Derek's business, gambling debts. $100,000 in mortgage payments. Folder 2, the Vegas trip. Screenshots of their Instagram posts showing them partying while I was in the ICU. Folder 3, the clincher. A high-quality screenshot of the text message from my father. Maybe dying will make you interesting. Folder 4, the security footage. A video from my doorbell camera 3 months prior, showing my father screaming at me through the door because I refused to buy him a new boat. I sent the link to every person who had commented on their posts. I sent it to the GoFundMe fraud department. I sent it to my mother's prayer group. The reversal was instantaneous. The internet loves a villain, but it loves receipts even more. The GoFundMe was shut down within 3 hours for fraudulent misrepresentation. My mother's Facebook wall was decimated by people calling her a vampire. But they weren't done. They showed up at my office. I watched through the security feed as my father and mother tried to push past the front desk. My father was wearing his respectable dad polo shirt, but his face was purple with rage. "I am her father," he screamed at the security guard. "She is a child playing games. Tell her to get down here and sign the deed over to us, or I'll sue her for every cent she has." The security guard, a man named Mike who I'd known for years, didn't blink. "Sir, Ms. Vance has filed a restraining order. If you don't leave in 30 seconds, the police will be here to escort you to jail." My mother started her fake crying routine. "She's sick. She's not in her right mind. We just want to help her." "You've helped enough," Mike said, gesturing to the 2 police officers entering the lobby. I watched them be handcuffed and let out. Not for a crime yet, but for trespassing and violating the temporary order Patrick had secured. I felt a pang of sadness. Not for them, but for the little girl I used to be, who would have done anything for that man in the polo shirt to just give her a hug. That girl was officially dead. The woman who replaced her was doing just fine. 2 years later, life has a way of balancing the scales if you give it enough time. I was now the director of cybersecurity at Argent Solutions. I had a life filled with real friends, a man who loved me for my mind and not my money, and a peace of mind that no amount of gold could buy. I was at a local high-end grocery store, picking up some Wagyu steaks for a dinner party when I saw him. Took me a moment to recognize him. He was standing in the markdown aisle, staring intently at a dented can of soup. He looked 20 years older. His hair was thin, his clothes were worn, and the arrogance that used to radiate off him had been replaced by a gray, sickly desperation. It was my father. I could have turned away. I could have hidden. But I didn't. I pushed my cart right past him. He looked up. Eyes met. For a second, I saw the old spark of anger, but it was quickly extinguished by shame. "Harper," he rasped. "Hello, David," I said. I didn't call him Dad. That title is earned, not biological. You look well. We heard about the promotion. The newspapers." "I am well," I said. "Harper, look. Your mother. She's not doing great. We're in a 1-bedroom over on 4th. Derek is in some trouble again. We made mistakes. We were caught up in the moment. We thought you'd always be there." "I know you did," I said, my voice devoid of malice. It was just a statement of fact. "You gambled on my guilt. You lost. Can we just talk for 5 minutes? We're your family." I looked at him, really looked at him. I didn't feel rage anymore. I didn't feel the need to scream. Felt pity. "You remember that night in the ICU, David? When I was struggling to breathe and you told me that dying would make me interesting." He flinched, looking down at his shoes. "I was joking. It was a bad joke." "It wasn't a joke. It was a confession. You told me exactly how much I mattered to you. And I listened. You wanted me to be interesting. Well, look at me now. I'm a woman who doesn't carry your weight anymore. I'm a woman who doesn't pay for your mistakes. And I have to say, I've never been more interesting." I reached into my purse. He looked at my hand, hope flickering in his eyes. He probably thought I was reaching for a checkbook. I pulled out a $1 bill. I placed it in his hand. "For the soup," I said. Consider it the final transaction of the Vance family estate. I walked away. I didn't look back. As I loaded my groceries into my car, the sun was setting over the city, painting the sky in shades of gold and violet. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Daniel, my partner. Cooper is waiting by the door. I've got the wine open. Come home soon, I have something interesting to tell you about our vacation plans. I smiled, wiped a single final tear from my eye, and drove toward the life I had built for myself. The golden goose hadn't died in that ICU. She had just learned how to fly away.